Hey, good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Brian Ratsanasan here at Church of the Front Range. The chapter that we're going to focus on is First Chronicles 15. And if you remember, in the chapter before, right, David just had this amazing victory over the Philistines, and here we are in chapter 15. And I just picture, as I'm reading this, I just imagine that he's just like, you know what, I've learned from my mistakes. And so let me just highlight a few of these, okay? In verse 2, he says, no one. But the Levites may carry the ark of God. And I imagine he's not just saying no one, he's saying no one, okay? Because you guys remember the last time they had someone else try to carry it. So that's the first one. Here's the second one. In verse 13, he reminds them. And he says, we did not inquire of him about how to do it in the prescribed way. And if you remember a couple of chapters ago, they said they didn't consult. They said they consulted not with God, but rather they consulted with hundreds and thousands of other people. Again, I think he's just like, this time, guys, we learned from our mistakes. We're going to consult with God first. And here's the last one in verse 15. It says, and the Levites carried the ark of God with the poles on their shoulder. And if you remember just a few chapters ago, the Philistines, right? You remember this? They carried it on a cart and they got away with it. And so the Israelites, they also tried doing the same thing and carrying it on a cart in, I think it was in chapter 13. But now they're like, okay, they're now doing it, right? How God said it, because no hands are supposed to touch the ark. You see, David, he's committed to not only do what the Lord says to do, but he's also committed to do how the Lord says to do it. And throughout this, you probably read this, but he also learned the importance of having sanctified men be in charge of this, because you guys remember Uzzah and what happened to him and how he did things flippantly, and he ended up losing his life. And so here's what I love, okay? Even though David got off track for a little bit, it's obvious that he repented and he immediately went back to obedience in every way. So here are just a few questions to ponder. Here's the first one. Is there anything that you've been doing that you know is not right in God's eyes that you need to stop? Or is there anything that you haven't done that the Lord has specifically told you to do? You see, David, the moment he knew that he wasn't supposed to do something, or the moment he knew that he was supposed to do something, he did it. He immediately learned from his mistakes and changed his behavior and put his trust back on God. Okay, so that's the first question. Here's the second question. I have three total. The second question is this. Is there anything that other people are doing that seems okay for others to do, but because of God's special call on your life, you're not supposed to do it? I think about the ark being carried on a cart, right? It was okay for the Philistines to do it, but because the Israelites and Levites were God's people, he had a very special call and specific call for them. So again, is there anything that seems okay for others to do because of God's special call on your life? You're not supposed to do it. And here's the last one, point number 3. Is there anything, and I mean anything, that you're consulting with others more than you're consulting with God? You see, if there's anything that I've learned about this whole inquiring prayer thing, is that God cares about every decision. He cares about every little detail. And so those are the 3 questions. Question number 1, is there anything that you've been doing that you know is not right in God's eyes that you need to do? Or is there anything that you haven't done that the Lord has called you to do? Question number 2, is there anything that other people are doing? Is there anything that other people are doing that seems okay for others to do, but because of God's special call in your life, you're not supposed to do it? And point number 3, is there anything, right, that you're consulting with others more than you're consulting with God? And so today, let's be those whose ultimate prize is faithfulness to Him, because it takes faith to obey. And so let's be faithful to whatever He says. I hope you guys have a great day.